the vaccine here. Josefina Guerra is here with her two grandchildren, and they're going for their second shot, la segunda vacunación. Once parked, Dr. Trevino joins other doctors and nurses on the bus, where the shots and crying begin, followed by gratitude from adults who got the shot too, like Josefina. Oh, you have hypertension and diabetes, and so this is very important for you. Muy importante entonces para usted. On the way back, some of the kids show off. On your arm? ¿Y lloraste? You didn't cry. No lloraste. Eres fuerte. You're strong. Ah, you play baseball. That's why you're so strong. Nuevo Laredo's mayor, Carmen Lilia Canturosa, says the children's vaccination.
Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
Happy Valentine's Day. Here it is, Tuesday, the 14th day of February.
Yes,
Halfway
happy
through the month of
Valentine's Day.
So hope you're going to have a good one, and we're glad you're here. We're sorry to tell you that there is some sad news that is coming out of Michigan State University, that 3 students have been killed, or at least 3 people on campus have been killed. And they said it was truly a nightmare. It started about 8 o'clock, a little after 8 o'clock last night, where they said that they had 5 wounded victims in the shooting on the school's campus that remain in critical condition at Sparrow Hospital. The shooting inside the academic hall and university grounds has left 3 people dead, but the gunman, a 43-year-old black male, they say, who is not affiliated with the university, was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound off the university's campus, according to their deputy police chief of campus security. Said the shooting started, as we mentioned, a little after 8 o'clock at Berkeley Hall, if you're familiar with Michigan State, on the northern boundary of the campus, prompting the school to send out one of those shelter-in-place orders. And we don't know what the motive is, what's going on, but you can see that the anti-gun crowd, of course, are going to be coming out of the woodwork on this. So we'll keep you posted on that story. And also, Brittany, it's amazing that the news media has found out about this fire and hazardous problem, gas problem in Ohio. But after that train derailment, what gets me more than anything else is that some genius with the EPA said there was nothing really to worry about, and they decided, when all this stuff was leaking out of the tankers,
yep.
and by the way, about 7 or 8 years ago, they said that they wanted to put special brakes on these types of trains, and they said, that'd be too expensive, don't worry about it.
Well, they also want to only have one person on that train moving forward. They're trying to reduce the amount of people that are working on these railroads. So when you think about that, it takes away from people being able to watch and see these things before they happen, so that we're preventing things like this. So I think that's something also to consider, is some of the policy that they want to put in place, I think, is going to put more people at risk for things like this.
Well, and then we have somebody decided that setting this stuff on fire was the way to get rid of it.
Yeah, because when you make it flammable, it turns into a whole other chemical that is not good for you to breathe in.
There's things like, hydrochloric acid. So that, because when this stuff starts burning, it mixes, in the atmosphere, there's water. And that's where you get fog and, things like that. And we're familiar with it here because we have industrial strength humidity here in the sunny South. But it starts, when this chemical starts mixing with the water, you come up with hydrochloric acid. And people are smelling this stuff, it's bad. But they told the kids, nothing to worry about here. Just, I guess, wear a mask and go back to school.
Yep, they went back to school yesterday, which I have no idea. I mean, this smells like Flint, Michigan all over again.
If not worse.
Yeah, if not worse. Well, I think they're calling it the Ohio Chernobyl, which is not a good comparison.
No.
And we shut down schools for a year over a virus that kids were not impacted by.
Yeah.
And yet they're sending kids to school the day after, and they're saying drinking water is safe. They're saying that it's safe to breathe the air. They also said this after 9/11.
Tell that to the dead fish.
Exactly. The dead fish. I mean, people are saying that their, chickens are dying. They're laying weird eggs. I mean, there's a whole slew of things that are happening. And, we have, I don't even know if Pete Buttigieg even talked about this or anything. He was too busy talking about
He's
racist.
Concerned.
Yeah.
We heard he was concerned.
Yeah.
Not as concerned as he was about racist construction workers.
Exactly.
But at least he's concerned. So once again, Pete Bootylicious, our transportation secretary, Pothole Pete, as he was known in South Bend, Indiana, couldn't get a pothole fixed there, but yet he's transportation secretary.
Well, isn't it odd that
he's never anywhere where he's supposed to be.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is, we have had more transportation disasters since this man has been over transportation than I've ever heard of. So, I mean, between the planes and the trains and the automobiles.
I think we call it beginner's luck.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
or
you don't know what
failure.
you're doing. I think the interview process to be in the Biden administration is, can you do anything? Said, no, good. We won't have to spend any time training you.
But how much do you want to make? Six figures? Okay, great.
Yeah, at least six figures, because that's what we're finding out about. Also, I know this sounds like the running broad jump, but we just got the word from Baltimore that none of their kids in public school can read at grade level, can do math at grade level, can do science at grade level, and yet we're spending more. But we're spending $31,000 per student in Baltimore. And you've got these administrators that are making six figures, and teachers that are living on a cup of soup and cornflakes.
Well, we have the same issue in our administration here with our schools. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, I lived in Baltimore in 2021, and I had a friend that worked at a nonprofit there, and they worked with kids from single-family homes that maybe needed some extra support. They would help them with their schoolwork and tutoring. I mean, they would usually feed them dinner and things like that and then send them home. But they had their funding cut from the Baltimore education system. Uh-huh. And they were actually doing something really good in helping these kids get up to, grade level. And they don't care about the kids in Baltimore. I will tell you that right now. And Baltimore is... it was once a vibrant city, and now it's a sad sight, honestly, Bill. Like, it makes me sad, because Baltimore could be this really amazing city, but it's been,
I don't think
they've not spent money well there.
I don't think they've had a Republican elected in office since 1964.
And it shows.
Yeah.
It shows.
Mm-hmm.
The balance is important.
Yeah, proof's in the pudding.
Yes.
But apparently, Americans for the most part haven't gotten fed up yet, because if you watch the last election that should have been a red tsunami, most people got reelected. Jennifer Granholm is our energy secretary, but her successor there up in Michigan.
Whitmer.
Gretchen Whitmer gets reelected almost by a landslide. I think New York City, 64% of the vote went for this sub-moron that's the mayor. So apparently people are not fed up quite yet.
I don't think it's that, Bill. I think that Republicans are not willing to play the games by the rules that are set.
Yeah, I agree with that, too.
So I think that that's the problem. And it's like, yes, this is not stuff we believe in, but these are the rules. If we want to win, we better start playing. Because the problem with Republicans is that we don't go to win. We're going to, we don't believe in ballot harvesting. Well, it's legal in some states, and it's also what the Democrats are doing. So if we don't start playing ball, they're always going to win.
That's exactly right.
So hopefully people will get on board, and the Republicans will also pivot. I wish we had a new RNC chair. That didn't happen, which I'm very disappointed about, because I don't know that we'll see the change that needs to happen.
But at least she's going to term limit herself. She said this is the last time she's running.
She said that last time.
Yeah, did she? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't believe her, but I don't know why this term was so important for her either. Especially since we have the 2024 presidency, which is probably going to be one of the most important presidential elections, since we may be in World War III by then. So.
Yeah, because we just got word that American citizens have been ordered to leave Russia.
immediately.
Yeah, if not sooner.
So,
get out because of the war in Ukraine. Apparently, after a year, they've realized, oh, there's a war in Ukraine and Russia's involved. Maybe you ought to leave.
Well, I'm also wondering, this is usually a step that they take before things escalate. Am I wrong, Bill? I mean, you're kind of the pro-history person here, but they usually don't tell people to get out unless something is escalating.
Yeah. You don't want it. There's a lesson to be learned here from people who aren't from here, but are here legally. We have to learn sometimes the greatness of America from people who are not originally Americans, that come here for something. There is a North Korean lady who jumped through all sorts of hoops of fire. I think she was actually part of human trafficking. And she said she lived through hell, but she said she came here, she was looking for freedom, she came here, she loves this place, but she said she sees the same thing happening here that she saw in North Korea. Now, that's not good. And here's a little bit of what she had to say. We have a message from her to us saying, you better start paying more attention or you're going to become almost like North Korea.
Sounding the alarm against woke American college students who say they feel oppressed despite living in the freest country in the world. Yeonmi Park defected from the regime as a young teen, where she described bleak living conditions as her family struggled to survive. She says, quote, "I escaped hell on earth and walked across the desert in search of freedom and found it. I don't want anything bad ever to happen to my new home. I need us to keep the darkness at bay." And Yeonmi Park joins me now. Great to have you back on the program, Yeonmi. It's crazy to even ask a question like this, but if we do not change course, could America be going down the path of North Korea?
Absolutely, without a question. The things that I was learning at Columbia University really shocked me because it was the exact same thing that my North Korean teachers were brainwashing me in the classroom. At Columbia University, they were literally saying that all the problems that we have is because of capitalism, because of white men. And the solution for all these problems is a communist revolution. In the name of equity, they were saying that we need to destroy this country. And we need to rebuild the country in the name of the equality of outcomes. And that same ideology drove my home country into what it is that today is North Korea. And that's why I escaped from North Korea. Without freedom or capitalism, none of these people are even alive today. They've been long dead long time ago from starvation. And they somehow...
Yeah, so when you hear some of the most blessed people in the history of humankind, and I'm talking about Americans, a lot of whom you went to Columbia with, say they are oppressed. What's your reaction when you hear that?
It's really funny to this day to me that somehow not having a problem is a problem. They literally create a problem out of nowhere and create injustice out of thin air. Their oppression is that somehow we cannot catch up their ever-growing non-grammatical pronouns. And that's the biggest oppression they face. And their oppression is somehow that there's no free healthcare, no free education, no free housing, no universal income. Nothing is free in this world. And they say, I asked them, like, what is it about America that you hate so much? And they said that they hate America because there's inequality. And inequality is a sign of progress. Inequality means you can rise compared to other people. In North Korea, what killed me, what killed my family members were poverty. The enemy is poverty. And they don't say that. And what broke my heart is I was telling these people, my mother was sold for $65 in the modern day as a modern day slavery in China. I was sold for over $200 as a child at 13. And I was asking them, they were saying things like, the silence is a violence. And I was asking Nancy Pelosi and American leaders like Jeff Bezos, asking them, can you stand up for North Korean who are actually going through modern day Holocaust, who are going through slavery? And these people having no problem denying the slavery that happened in America hundreds of years ago, they do not want to stand up against Chinese Communist Party. because they want the money. They want to make the regime.
And that's sick. And that is sad. Yomi's new book, While Time Remains, A North Korean Defector's Search for Freedom in America, hits store shelves tomorrow. Make sure you grab a copy. If you think that us here at Fox News blow it out of proportion, listen to people like Yeonmi Park, on our screen right now. She lets you know what it's really like there and that we're in trouble if we don't change course. Yeonmi, thank you.
So heed the warning, for God's sake.
Yeah, we need to start paying attention.
For sure. All right, coming up next, why are students so unhappy?
You know, that's a great question, Bill. I think that Dennis Prager might have the answer for us.
Prager U next.
It wasn't that.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
At Get Real America, we'd like to thank the Southeast Georgia Republican Assembly for all their efforts on making a difference in our communities.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Of Alex Murdaugh now is in its third week?
Third week,
and
yep.
They have 2 jurors had to be dismissed yesterday because of COVID. So 2 alternates have been put in, so I don't know just how much that's going to delay the trial, if at all. And that's what you have alternate jurors for in the first place, in case something like that happens. I just hope those people were fully vaccinated.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's very important,
Yeah.
Bill. I hope that was one of the questions they asked everyone before they became a juror.
And but it goes to prove why are students so unhappy? We just had this horrible situation up at Michigan State University, and three people were killed. They didn't say whether they were students or otherwise. They have several more that are in critical condition, and the black gunman has killed himself. 43 years old, and far as they know, has no connection to the university. They don't know what this was all about.
Which is really interesting because of the age as well, right? So,
exactly.
You know, we'll stay tuned to see what happens, but you know, in my opinion, I don't think we'll ever say the name of the shooter or anything, because I think that provides them the infamy that typically they're looking for. So
yeah, absolutely. It is a real shame. We need to worry about the victims in this case. Meanwhile, why are students like the folks at Michigan State University, even before this shooting, are so unhappy these days? Why isn't everybody just deliriously happy with everything that's available to them on the freest country in the world? Prager University is taking a look at it.
Why are so many young people unhappy? To cite just one example, Reuters reported in 2019 that suicidal thinking, severe depression, and rates of self-injury among U.S. college students more than doubled over less than a decade. And unhappiness is hardly confined to Americans. As the social commentator Kay Heimowitz recently wrote, Germans are lonely, the bon vivant French are lonely, and even the Scandinavians are lonely. The British Prime Minister recently appointed a Minister of Loneliness. People have more money, better health, better housing, more education, and live longer than at any time in history. But people, especially the young, are unhappier than at any time since data began to be collected. Why? There are any number of reasons: increased drug and opioid addiction, less human interaction because of constant cell phone use, and young people's fears for their future are the most widely offered explanations. But the biggest reason is the loss of values and meaning. Let's begin with values, and I'll focus on America. The United States was founded on two sets of values, Judeo-Christian and American. This combination created the freest, most opportunity-giving, most affluent country in world history. This is not chauvinism, it's fact. That's why people from every country on earth have wanted to emigrate to America, and still do. Chief among the American values was keeping government as small as possible. This enabled non-governmental institutions, Kiwanis, Rotary and Lions clubs, book clubs, the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, bowling leagues, music societies, and of course churches, to provide Americans with friends and to provide the neediest Americans with help. But as government has gotten ever larger, many of these non-governmental groups have dwindled in number or simply disappeared. Another set of values is referred to as middle class or bourgeois values. These include getting married before having a child, making a family, getting a job, self-discipline, delayed gratification, and patriotism. All of these have been under attack by America's elites with the following results. The majority of births to millennials are to unmarried women. Yet according to a 2018 Cigna study, single parents are generally the loneliest of Americans. The percentage of American adults who have never been married and who have no children is at an historic high. Then there's patriotism. Until the 1960s, Americans grew up loving their country, admiring the founders, and believing in America's values, most especially liberty. Americans did not ignore the bad parts of their history, but they were wise enough to recognize that what made America exceptional was not its flaws, which were all universal, but its virtues, which were not. This strong American identity provided generations of Americans with roots, community, optimism, and meaning. Which brings me to the most important reason for all this unhappiness: a lack of meaning. As Viktor Frankl, the renowned Austrian-American psychoanalyst, wrote in his masterpiece, Man's Search for Meaning, aside from food, the greatest human need is meaning. And nothing has given Americans, or any other people for that matter, as much meaning as religion. But in the West, since World War II, God and religion have been relegated to the dustbin of history. The result is that more than a third of Americans born after 1980 affiliate with no religion. This is unprecedented in American history, and it's even worse in Europe. Maybe, just maybe, the decline of Protestantism, Catholicism, and Judaism, those great providers of meaning, is the single biggest factor in the increasing sadness and loneliness among so many young people in America and around the world. A 2016 study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA Psychiatry, found that American women who attended a religious service at least once a week were 5 times less likely to commit suicide. And common sense suggests this applies to men as well. Young people have been told God is nonsense, their country is essentially evil, their past is deplorable, their future is bleak, and marriage and children are not important. Why are so many young people depressed, unhappy, and angry? It's not capitalism or income inequality or patriarchy or even global warming. It's having no religion, no God, and no country to believe in. And what does that leave them with? No meaning. But there is always Instagram. I'm Dennis Prager. This video was made possible by a generous grant from Colorado Christian University. PragerU subscribers may be eligible for a $1,000 scholarship for courses taken through CCU Online. Learn more at prageru.com/CCU.
That pretty much sums it up. Dennis Prager is a gift from God.
Yes, he is. And I will tell you
brilliant.
That I think purpose is one of the things that is mostly missing. And I think that that's why we see so many people participating on the left in destructive behavior, and also why it's kind of become a cult in a way, because there's no talking to these people. There's no common ground. And you and I have talked about this a lot. How do you argue with someone that doesn't live in reality?
Yeah.
They don't care about facts. They don't care about what's actually going on. They only care about their talking points and what they've been told.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you find that. And I will say my grandmother always says where there's life, there's hope. And that's kind of what we have to believe in order to get the country back on track and hopefully start to save some of these young people.
Well, we can turn this around. And, you know, the irony of public schools, you know, there's nothing in the Constitution that says we have to have them.
We shouldn't have them. Look what they've done.
Well, the argument for it, ironically enough, Brittany, was we'll be able to bring the people together. We'll be able to teach this patriotism and be able to tell the American dream. And for a while it worked.
I was going to say that's how it used to be.
Until the communists took over.
Yep.
Now, they call themselves progressives, but make no mistake, they were communists. And people like Nikita Khrushchev, who came along long after this thing started, but he realized he hated capitalism. He thought communism was the way to go. He said, we will bury you and we won't have to fire a shot. And I think we've discussed this before when he had that meeting, the meeting he had with President Kennedy.
Yes.
President Kennedy said, you know, hey, we look at all these missiles we have. Look at all these strategic bombers we have. Look at this powerful Air Force. We can destroy you 1,000 times over. And Khrushchev said, I can destroy you once, and that's enough for me. So this is what we have, and what they've done is they've taken over the media. Hitler was one of the first people to realize that motion pictures were great propaganda tools, and he actually collaborated with MGM Pictures in Hollywood because he knew that, he said, if you want access to the German market, you're going to have to do the movies the way we want you to. China is saying, of course, telling us the same thing now. Telling Disney that they look like they own. Yep. Saying, you know, you all this junk that they show over here, you can't show in China. No. You can't show anything about any homosexual relationships or anything over there.
No.
But they got plenty of it going on over here. And that is the danger. So there was a great book out several years ago called The Collaboration, when Hitler was working with the producers and movie makers in Hollywood, and these were Jews. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, the mayor were Jewish, and a lot of the people, production members, writers, and everything else. Walt Disney went to Congress on numerous occasions warning them. He hated communists. He's rolling over in his grave. And he's spinning like a lathe in his grave now with what Disney has become and how woke, with the woke crap that they're coming up with. But he went to Congress on numerous occasions and said, there's communists in Hollywood. You need to get these people out of here. It is a danger to America. It is a danger to our kids. And he was ignored. And here we are about to celebrate the 100th. I saw this. They had a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
On Sunday night about celebrating the 100th birthday anniversary of Disney, and guess what they kept showing? All of these great classical movies from Disney back when he, when he was promoting God and family, from Old Yeller to Snow White to Pinocchio, whatever it was, Mickey Mouse. Disney was a Christian, and he took a lot of biblical stories and made them into cartoons with great moral character and a great conclusion for his motion pictures and for his cartoons. And it's become the opposite now. And I am sure that we need to have a seance and bring him back and throw those people out that are running the place. All right, coming up next,
we're going to be talking about what's really going on with these electric cars, Bill.
Yes. Apparently, electric cars aren't all they're cracked up to be, shall we say.
No, they're not.
We'll make the connection next, pun intended.
At Get Real America, we want to promote your business to our conservative audience.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us, because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, and it's going to be nice today, nicer than it's been. So get out in Savannah, maybe do some rooftop bars, take your person out to a lovely Valentine's dinner.
And we have some wonderful rooftop bars in this town. Great venues and great views of this beautiful city.
Yes, I will tell you there's a new one, I think, down by Eastern Wharf. I'm trying to think. It's in a hotel. I think it's called Bar Julian. One of the best views of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And the bridge.
Platte Riverside, around in there in that area?
No, it's on the opposite side of River Street.
On the other side, okay. All right.
Yeah, where they built the Marriott at Eastern Wharf.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, yeah.
Anyways.
But wherever you go, it's absolutely fantastic, and the weather is going to be a little on the nippy side. So dress in layers, as we say in the biz. So that's what all the meteorologists keep telling us to save our lives. Dress in layers. Meanwhile,
we talk a lot about the electric car issue and why it's so bad for the environment, but also I don't think people are really discussing what it takes to get this cobalt and who is actually mining the cobalt?
Yeah. Cobalt is what goes into the batteries. And we could mine it here, but apparently our resources need to be conserved for some reason. That's why we're not drilling for our own oil anymore. And and selling the strategic oil reserve to, I don't know, China. So what does it take to make one of those batteries?
It takes a lot, Bill. And I think that cobalt, here's the thing. We are supporting anyone that buys an electric car, you're supporting child labor.
Yeah, slavery.
Yes.
Slavery in Africa.
6 years old.
And by the way, who's investing heavily in Africa and these countries?
Oh, that is, it's our friend. It's our friend China.
Yes.
That's who's investing
the one
over
sending
there.
weather balloons over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was an accident, Bill. It just kind of drifted over our way.
That's right. And it just happened to drift over top secret military installations.
It's a total accident, Bill. Like, you need to give China more credit.
I know. Yeah, I sure do. So this is what it looks like.
So these are cobalt mines in the Congo, where thousands of Africans work in extreme heat and dangerous conditions for pennies. In America, we call that illegal. But Biden, AOC, call that the Green New Deal. But children halfway around the world are the ones paying the price. They spend all day covered in toxic chemicals to make your electric car. Mothers with newborn babies strapped to their chests are mining in dark pits. Biden would never let this happen in America because you actually have to pay American workers a decent wage. And then the Green New Deal gets more expensive, and it's already too expensive. But since this is in Africa, we don't hear about it. And we don't think anybody should buy an electric car without knowing that this happens. Siddhartha Kara, author of Cobalt Red, How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives, joins us. If anybody knew that children in Africa were digging into mineral pits for pennies day and night, I don't think they'd buy a Tesla. Do you think AOC would buy that car again if she knew that?
Well, my hope would be people would think twice, because as you rightfully pointed out, we would never accept the absolute degradation of our women and children, our citizens here, just to feed cobalt into rechargeable batteries. So why do we accept it and allow it in the heart of Africa?
You shot this video. What was that like?
Oh, that place was a hellscape. I mean, you don't imagine scenes like that exist in the 21st century. I thought as I neared that ridge and looked into that pit, I had been warped, cranking, breathing in toxic dust, brute force against cobalt stone, all for a couple of dollars a day, feeding it up the chain to companies worth trillions.
And China is in Africa, and we have American mine corporations in Africa. So this is just
power plants don't blow up. They don't reach critical mass. And the nuclear power, and if you keep advancing the technology, things get better. It's like when I was working at when I used to do tours for kids sometimes at the radio station where I worked, and we still had our 1947 or 8 RCA transmitter that was about the size of a railroad car to generate. Today, the 5,000 watt transmitter is about the size of a bread box, and probably uses less power in a year than the 1947 transmitter used in a month.
Wow.
And because of progress. And we didn't have the government standing in our way, and the government did that. We've got to make this thing small. Made in research. It includes people who schools, in many schools, who tick. Stuff like that figured out how to work in pictures and then the air. I ask kids sometimes that's a color picture through the air. And they're like,
that's a good question.
Yeah. Sorry, we're going to be building them here. I really am. Hyundai, you're welcome. I wish you were making a car with a standard combustion engine.
Yeah, me too, Bill. I'm not a big fan of the electric cars, and I also think that people have been sold a lie, have been indoctrinated on these electric cars. Such
and
as
apparently our
everything with
governor, Brian Kemp, I love you like a brother. But when you come up with a statement that says that we want Georgia to be the electric vehicle capital of the world, no, we don't.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think that that's most Republicans that I know are not a big fan of these electric cars because they also see all the problems that it brings.
Yeah.
And
what are we going? And we talked about the batteries, and the batteries finally go against some people that electric cars are the way to go, and they ain't. And by the way, they're also coming for your gas stoves. So there's hardly a restaurant in the world that doesn't cook with natural gas. It's very efficient, it's very inexpensive, and it does the job much better. If they have to go to if they have to get rid of their natural gas stoves and go to electric cooking, you can look for the prices to triple.
Well, not only that, the open flame. They like to cook on the open flame as well. And it does change, the consistency of the pan and all of that and how the food tastes. So,
And when you turn off a natural gas stove, it's off. You turn off an electric stove, it still stays nice and hot
warm,
for quite a while. Yeah, even though I have an electric stove and I like them, but it'd be nice to have gas. But they don't. Of course, the government seems to think that this war on this fossil fuels is absolutely disgusting. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But in the meantime, our 1st District Congressman Buddy Carter has a message for us this week and what's going on up there in La La Land and what they're doing to waste your tax money.
Welcome to this week's edition of Buddy's Briefings. We're coming to you this week outside of the United States Capitol, where on Tuesday night we had the State of the Union address. On Tuesday night also, there was a fence all the way around this Capitol. It's not there now, but it was on Tuesday night. In fact, you could say that the Capitol was much more secure on Tuesday night than our southern border has been in the 2 years that Joe Biden's been president. That's why I say this was not really a State of the Union address. It was more of a state of confusion address because this president didn't address any of the issues that are haunting our country right now, like the southern border, where we've got an insecure border with illegal immigrants, illegal drugs like fentanyl coming across that border, infesting our communities and killing over 200 of our citizens every day. Also, what about this balloon, this Chinese balloon that came across the country last week? Well, the president, he did shoot it down. Unfortunately, he should have shot it down over the Pacific Ocean when it first got started, as opposed to the Atlantic Ocean after it had already gotten all that information. We have to treat the Chinese Communist Party as our enemy. Also, he talked about the economy. He wants to take credit for bringing the inflation rate down 2 points. Well, it's already 4 points higher than it was when he took office. This president just does not get it. The Capitol was only 2 miles away from the White House, but this president, he's worlds apart from where we're at. Thank goodness we've got a Republican-controlled House, and we're going to offer real solutions to real problems, solutions to our southern border, solutions to our economy, solutions to the Chinese Communist Party, and solutions to crime in our cities. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, buddy. And all he talked about in the faux president talked about in his speech last week was how to spend more money.
Well, and I think that's the other thing, Bill. We need to really focus in on the issues, but the Biden administration doesn't want to talk about them. They just want to talk about how bad it is and how much more money they need to fix the problems, because you know what? If something doesn't work in the government, you just keep investing more money, even though there's no proof that it works.
That is their argument every time. We're just not spending enough money on it.
That has to be the issue. It couldn't be that it's bad policy.
No, it couldn't be the fact that that it doesn't work. Like the perpetual motion machine. That there's no such animal, and it ain't going to happen anytime soon. So, meanwhile, another 1st District Congresswoman, this time Nancy Mace, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, not to refer to Buddy as a woman, but although that seems to be in vogue these days.
Isn't it horrible that you had to correct that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. It's a big problem.
Yeah. So kudos to her. She has had a bad reaction from a COVID vaccine. Said not necessarily the first shot, but the booster that they told her that she just had to have. And she got some Twitter. Finally, we've got some people that are holding congressional hearings that are meaningful, that are trying to get to the bottom of problems, and had some Twitter executives on the wrong side of her desk last week when she was asking them why they were banning top scientists and physicians and people who actually study this stuff, who were warning us about these COVID vaccines.
Another example of what Twitter has done to censor folks is from Dr. Martin Kulldorff, a Harvard-educated epidemiologist, who once tweeted, "COVID vaccines are important for high-risk people and their caretakers. Those with prior natural infection do not need it, nor children." The Twitter files reveal this tweet was deemed false information because it ran contrary to the CDC. So my first question this morning of Ms. Gadde, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry?
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing...
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices.
Nancy Mace, she's something to be... She's nothing to be reckoned with.
She said, and she said that on that second, she said the first vaccine, first time she got the COVID vaccine, didn't have much of a negative reaction. But since she's had the booster, she's had asthma. She's never had asthma. She has it now. She also has had some other issues that have been debilitating to her health, and she ain't happy about it.
Well, and she's not. She's fairly young.
Yeah. I mean, she's in her 40s.
Yeah. So I mean, and I've heard that it triggers autoimmune. I've heard that it creates heart problems. We've heard that. I mean, there's been so many different vaccine injuries, and we're not allowed to talk about them. I mean, we might be off YouTube just because we are talking about it now, but.
Yeah, we just got out of YouTube purgatory, so
yes. We might be heading back.
We're heading right back.
Oh,
but the fact that they're keeping this away, it's almost it's as bad. Also, like it, but we're seeing this whole thing work out across the spectrum. If you will remember, we were talking about when we opened up the show this morning. We were talking about the fire, the hazardous fire that's going on in Ohio, that had the city evacuated, and then they said, okay, it's okay to come back in and breathe all this toxic fumes and send the kids back to school. A reporter from I think News Nation.
Yep.
That is from WGN in Chicago, was arrested when he was trying to report on it. Now, when did you hear? What countries have you heard about that arrested reporters or killed reporters for broadcasting the truth? It hasn't been in America until just recently. So thank a Democrat. And thank this woke culture that we've come up with that's decided that in this bureaucratic malaise that we have here now that is dictating what you are supposed to hear, just like shooting down all these balloons now. We've shot down 4 over the weekend?
Yep.
Something like that. Why was it necessary to shoot those down if it wasn't necessary to shoot the first one down?
Well, and why weren't they prepared to retrieve these?
Yes.
Why is it now such a big issue? Like, they should have had a plan in place before they shot it down to be able to retrieve these, figure out, number one, how they were flying, because they're like, we can't find any propellers on them. We don't really know how they were operating. It's like...
We don't, in fact, we don't even know what some of them are, and I can't even believe that that a 4-star general and ought to take his stars away and make him C stars. When a reporter asked him, somebody asked him, could this be UFOs, alien creatures of some sort? He said, we're not ruling out any possibilities.
Oh my gosh, this guy. Well, and so going back to the Ohio thing, the other thing they said is go to the doctor. Make sure you get your records because we don't know what this is going to do to you.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you have your COVID shot.
Well, that's not what they said. They want to know how healthy these people are now, and then what happens over the next 5 to 10 years because of this incident in Ohio.
Oh, good. So you're now guinea pigs.
Yep. So, well, when you look at what happened during 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
they said that it was not going to harm you to breathe that in. And look at how many people got so sick.
Yeah.
How many first responders died such a horrible and lengthy death because of what they breathed in that day. And, weeks and weeks on end.
Mhm.
So, unfortunately...
You know who got the best treatment at 9/11, at the 9/11 site? The cadaver dogs. They had veterinarians galore there.
Oh, really?
Treating the dogs. Because, that was our most valuable asset, at least at the time.
Yeah.
Was to find out if anybody was alive, or to locate bodies or body parts. Most people, because they were pretty much vaporized when you see that building just pancake down, how terrible it was. And yeah, so all these years later, we're still working on, asking for help. And how much did they, nothing's too good for our illegal aliens and Ukraine. But how did these families had to, get their knees bloody, begging for funds to help their loved ones who had been breathing all this stuff all this time?
Well, and the thing is the government has not done a good job of instilling trust. No one trusts the government. The CDC comes out with these guidelines and we just kind of look at them like, we don't believe you. The FDA has not done us any good. We see the chemicals they've allowed in our food. Can you think of one department in the government that you trust, Bill? I'll wait.
Not now.
Not one.
Not now. I used to have a great deal of respect for the CIA and for the FBI, and for the regular field agents and the people who are putting their lives on the line and are undercover somewhere that are doing the job that nobody else wants to do. God love them. But as far as the upper echelon, no. No, they need the FBI needs to be revamped almost top to bottom.
So what happens when a country, the citizens, no longer have faith in their government, Bill? What happens? You have anarchy, tyranny, and our whole foundation is founded on the fact that it was people who are responsible. And our founding fathers, those evil white racist guys, warned us that unless you elect good, Christian, solid people with integrity and honesty and patriotism, this system ain't going to work. And look where we are. Yep, full of corruption and full of a lot of distrust with, in the government. And I think that we're also seeing the breakdown of our society. You look at what's going on in a lot of cities, including Savannah. Our crime rate is out of control here.
Exactly.
They're not being punished. We see people crushing TVs over a Super Bowl game, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to pivot. We've got to change some things.
It's pathetic, and in 40 years, in almost 40 years of television, I noticed that the young reporters that were coming in, were less and less educated, and knew less and less about their country, and knew less and less about how to do their jobs, other than the fact that they were there to save the world.
Yep. I can attest to that. College was exactly that.
Yeah, exactly.
Full of activism.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're here to save the world on Get Real America, and we'll continue saving it tomorrow for the Hump Day edition, so stick around. Have a great day, and happy Valentine's. And
yes, we're going to leave you with the Valentine's blessings from the Dublin Church, which we think is a good feel-good story for Valentine's Day today.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for
Valentine's came a day early for these couples this afternoon. They were at the church on Whitefriar Street in the capital, home to the relics of St. Valentine. Soon to be married, they were there for blessings.
We were getting our rings blessed. We're getting married this year, so we had the Valentine's Mass, and it was lovely. It was a really nice experience.
Valentine's is all about couples getting together and it's just showing how special you are to each other, so it's very good.
What about all the attention here today?
Oh goodness, I'm not used to that. But yeah, it's been lovely. It's been really nice. Yeah.
No pressure?
No pressure.
If we can manage 7 or 8 photographers today, I think we'd manage one on the day.
Bishop Dennis Nulty did the honours. The couples here will be married in Catholic churches.
The numbers are steady. Obviously, in recent years, they have declined because people have more options of how they can celebrate their wedding. But we are delighted to welcome those who come. And the important thing for us is to make sure that they're very well prepared and supported, not only in preparation for marriage, but in the early years of the sacrament as well.
Also present were those renewing their vows. This couple married for 40 years. Their advice to the younger ones?
Communication, being open and honest, good communication, resolving conflict, and a good sense of humour is really great, you know.
Do you know any jokes?
I know lots of jokes, but not this minute.
St. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. You have been forewarned. Conor Hunt, RTE News.